The Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Baji, has appeared before lawmakers at the National Assembly this week and in an oral question and answer session with regards to his ministry's development activities, among others. Most of the questions raised by the National Assembly members were issues of the renovation of the Independence Stadium and issues of the Gambia not being able to play their home games in the country. And here's more details of that in this report by Mariama Cham.
The issue of the renovation of the Independence Stadium has been a national interest, as many believe that it should not be renovated, but a new stadium should be built looking at sports development in the Gambia. Millions of funds have been pumped into the renovation of the stadium in Bakau, but it is still not up to standard with CAF's request to play home games on it. The issue of the stadium and other sports development interest lawmakers, as most of the questions answered by the minister were on sports infrastructure in the country. The stadium renovation was pegged to be completed within 6 months, but the parliamentarian for Joswang observed that works went up to August. The sports minister, however, explained that these are some of the constraints for the delay in the completion.
Well, constraints were few constraints. One of it was the delay in the initial payment, which technically is on our side, because work starts only when you pay. Then when payment was done, there was also delay in some of the arrival of some of the equipment from where they got it from, because the contractors were mostly importing materials from Turkey. And at one time they told us that they had a container delay in the river or wherever in the sea because of the maritime transport. And one time also when it came to the port, they needed to make some clearance with ports before they can release their materials, and it took 2 weeks while the containers were lying at the port before they can get it out. So these are some of the issues. And
the Gambia has had only one national stadium where almost all sporting activities are held. Building or having a new stadium has been a need for many Gambians, as many believe that it will enhance sports in the country.
Honorable Speaker, yes, there are plans to build a new stadium, and in fact, we already have a plan for a 30,000 capacity stadium and already identified a venue for it. However, stadiums are expensive. It's a capital project that will cost Gambia close to 200 million, or in the minimum, 100+ million, depending on the size that you want. $1 million. So this is the challenge that we have now, but we are looking at possibilities, and we've been discussing with some of our bilateral partners to see how best we can be able to get the support to build a second stadium for the country. And yes, we understand the impact that it will have in our sports development, but also to our young people and even the economy of the country.
The country's sports minister also said that there are works already going on for construction of mini stadiums in certain communities despite inadequate funds.
Honorable Speaker, as part of the ministry's sports infrastructure development plan, we are currently constructing sports fields or mini stadiums in Diabugu, Sandu in Yuarar, Janjamburi and Fulabantang in CRR, Kiang Julafar in LRR, Biam and Kafuta in the West Coast region, as well as the Mboyo Field Bakote in the Serekunda Central Zone. Honorable Speaker, with the available financial resources, the ministry's efforts are not only to promote sporting activities and competition, but also decentralize sports infrastructure across the country, as enshrined in the just ended NDP and new green focused recovery of the NDP. However, these plans are hampered by the unavailability of resources, as our allocation is always very minimal compared to the plans that we have for the country.
The only national stadium in the country was built just 2 years after the Gambia gained its independence in 1965, constructed by the Chinese government, with the name celebrating the independence. It dates back to 1984 and hasn't been renovated since. For years, it was infamous for bad management and poor standards despite numerous large events being held there. Among them are national team games, concerts, and political gatherings. Last year, the government approved the renovation and remodeling of the Independence Stadium with a staggering $160 million funding. The renovation is completed, but the Confederation of African Football called it unfit to host games. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Mariama Cham.